Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch. I am your host, Dr. John, and we are moving right along into Series 11. We are at the episode Samsara, Episode 2 of Series 11, directed and written by Doug Naylor. This, of course, was released on the 29th of September, 2016. So let's get into this. So we open with a ship crashing into some sort of watery planet and some sort of pod jettisoned from the ship. We then flash forward 3 million years, of course. We find Lister and Rimmer playing a board game, and Lister is cheating. The game is Monopoly. I guess it's the version of Monopoly. Lister is particularly cheating with the cards, and Rimmer apparently has never been defeated in this game. They've got a bet on the line. Apparently, if Lister wins, Rimmer is not allowed to pester him about anything for like a week. And if Rimmer wins, Lister has to wear a dress and learn a polka song on the bagpipes. I don't think these are equally... Who cares? They have absurd bets. These are absolutely absurd. So if Rimmer rolls a 2 and a 1 on the dice, he loses. And the odds are like almost impossible. He does it apparently a total of 7 times. And... he tries so hard to find any kind of loophole to get out of this game, but he literally throws astronomical odds. And he's a really bad loser for a game that he's never lost. We now find that Red Dwarf itself is orbiting what appears to be the same water planet, and we see the SS Samsara escape pod from earlier in orbit. Crichton and Kat are in a lab discussing this find, and there appears to be a survivor on the channel talking to them, giving them the warning of the stress, and it gets cut off, but they didn't take the pod aboard. Something is up. So Lister is having his ice cream in bed, while Rimmer tells the story of how he was cursed. Apparently he refused to buy something off some bum and was cursed. He believes it. So Rimmer goes on whinging about all this. When Crichton breaks in, has to do his own bing bong because apparently it's broken, and they found the escape pod. There are apparently 2 survivors, a Colonel Jim Green and a Professor Rachel Barker. They go down to the lab to meet the survivors, which they turn out to be dust. Yeah. But they had just spoken to Barker on the screen when they brought the pod on board. And then they found him like this. So something's up. Lister says, well, we should go investigate. We should bury the dust and, eject into space and then go check out the ship. He sneezes and blows the dust everywhere, and Rimmer's like, well, on to step 2. They go to find the ship, crash in the water. Of course, they go down Scarbug, and they're basically salvaging. Of them on the abandoned ship to flashbacks to 3 million years earlier, and where we see Green and Barker meeting each other. She's come on board the ship. They're secretly having an affair, but they are married to other people. The crew in the future is trying to find out what happened. It's a state-of-the-art ship, but the skeletons they find were all like flash heated, and they're all laid out in weird, sexually depraved positions. Some of them have murdered people. Some of them are having sex. And at this point, the ship turns back on. We then find the body of Captain Tom Kadri, his skeleton, and what appears to be gibberish on the screen, which of course they make fun of the Welsh. Stop doing that. Crichton asks Lister to sit in the chair, and then turns on the dictation, and while the dictation's on, tries to strangle him, and Lister's garbled words make the same thing. Like, oh, we figured it out. Now we cut back to the crew in the past. Everyone is in the cafeteria talking about the food. We see the waste disposal unit, which looks like a shredder. We then come back to the future where Kat and Lister, they're in the same location. They find a slot machine. Kat wants to play, but he takes money from the orphan fund. When he does so, he hits the jackpot. Lister saying, this is not a good idea. But Lister then takes some of the money and puts it back in the machine. And at this point, he leans back and accidentally gets his dreadlocks caught in the food disposal machine. Kat cuts him free and then drops the knife in the machine. As he does so, it then spits it back out and it lands in the cat's foot. We have a lot of improbable things happening here, which will be explained. But at this point, the ship's power goes off, the doors lock, and Crichton and Rimmer are in another room, so they're now separated. Cat apparently can't see in the dark, and Lister's like, aren't cats supposed to be able to do this? He's like, we evolved. You don't swing from trees anymore. They're stumbling around the dark looking for the first aid kit. They end up getting some glow sticks for light, trying to stay calm. The ship is unstable. It is slipping further into like the mud underneath this planet. Meanwhile, Crichton and Rimmer find the drive room. It has a karma drive, which has two modes, punishment and reward settings. It's designed to promote teamwork and by so rewarding them. Basically manipulates reality. You do good things happen to you. You do bad things happen to you. Now think back to what just happened with Lister and Crichton and the cat. Cat stole money. He got rewarded. Lister did something good. He got punished. So something's off here. And this is where Rimmer brings up the question, well, who decides what is moral and immoral? Him and Crichton are discussing. It is programmable. Someone can change it. Rimmer thinks that this might be why he threw that 2-1 7 times back on Red Dwarf. They may have been in his field. This is also why Cat and Lister are stuck in the other room and the cat got a knife in his foot. It was the karma drive. But think about what I was saying a second ago. Something's still off. We now cut back to Green and Barker in the past being chewed up by their captain about their affair. He has it all down on paper, like a full report. So something's off here. They have been, and so bad things have been happening. So Cat compares himself to Archimedes, but he gets it confused with Isaac Newton. He tells him this weird story of sitting under a tree when the bath hits him in the head, and he shouts Formica and invented gravy. Again, he's still mixing up the Newton story. Lister tells him Archimedes shouted Eureka when in the bath, where he thought up water displacement. Cat claims that he invented gravy then, after the bath fell out of a plane, apparently. And then he got a special hat to wear to cover up his bruises. No, Newton got a knighthood. They're still mixing the stories, and Lister is basically in hell with this. Crichton and Rimmer have to but try to be kind to each other to get the karma drive to turn back on. Rather, it actually then Rimmer fakes this nice and he tries to do it. The ship doesn't fall for it. Crichton figures out how the crew died. The ship basically flash heated all of them. Rimmer insults Crichton, though. At this point, the power's down the heat flash that had just been activated. So something's off. Someone has reversed the karma rewards. Meanwhile, they finally get to Lister and Cat, while Cat is telling Lister about Julie Caesar, not Julius Caesar. They come in, and he proceeds to punch Lister. Crichton does. The ship's karma drive has been reversed. Apparently, Green and Barker reprogrammed it after they were being punished for their bad behavior, having all kinds of terrible things happen to them. They switched it to make it so that one is punished for doing good and rewarded for being unethical. This is why when the cat got the jackpot for stealing, why Lister almost lost did lose a dread and almost got sucked in for the machine for putting the money back, and why Cat got a knife for saving him. When the ship crashed, this is why the crew was engaging in all those things like sex and murder. They were trying to save themselves. Meanwhile, Green and Barker had taken the escape pod, unethically, the only escape pod, and gone to cryo. Meanwhile, but this is what's interesting, when they came out of the cryo and attempted to contact Red Dwarf when it appeared, the karma drive vaporized them as punishment for doing something good. So they have to avoid being honest, kind, and helpful. And of course, Rimmer has a head start on all of them. And Cat actually finds Lister's cheat cards as they proceed to make their way off the ship, from which we assume they did. This is a fun, clever episode. Next time we'll be looking at Give and Take, but let me just say a little bit about this. This is a fun episode. This is one of those kind of classic Red Dwarf episodes, and I love the fact that there's a little bit of a mystery in it that kind of has to unplay itself, because when you watch it the first time through, you're like, that is very strange, coincidental. And it all starts with a dice roll. Like, it's impossible to roll a 2 and a 1. And I love how Lister Crichton Rimmer then tries to make Lister roll, and he's rolling perfect numbers. So there's this whole little fun little twist in it. So it's a very clever little fun episode. This reminds me of Entangled a little bit. So it has that same kind of flair. So it's a fun episode. I enjoyed it. But again, what do you guys think? I want to hear from you guys, your thoughts on this episode. And you can do that by liking, subscribing, comment. You can also write us at Not Funny Guys Presents. I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say that. That is not our thing. It's notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Not Funny Guys Presents is the channel we're on. But you can write us there and tell us what's your favorite Red Dwarf episode. Give me ideas, things you want to do. Do you want me to do the rankings of the series? I do want to do that. We are going to move on, obviously, to news radio, as I've been hinting at for a while now, but it doesn't mean I want to leave Red Dwarf behind. I have too much fun. I want to continue being a boy from the Dwarf. Let me know. In the meantime, though, if you'd like to enjoy some of our other Not Funny Guys products, we have our main podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Off the Reels, where we talk about movies. We're doing a little run of 1994 films. We just did the Scream franchise. We're going to move on to doing the Batman films, the live action ones. We're going to start with the Adam West one. And we have a few little exceptions, but I'll be telling you more about that on this channel as we get to that. Right now, we have our episode on The Shadow from 1994 out, trying too hard to be a Batman film. We will have our soon next week we'll have Stargate, and then we will have The Crow. That's our run of 1994's our own version of what was it like in the 90s trend that everybody seems to be doing. If that's not your cup of tea, you can always check out my other Not Funny colleagues, Casey and Eric, and their podcast series. I think they're actually doing the Scream franchise right now as kind of a syndication, you might say. You can check those out over at on that podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Wrestling with the Horror of It All, where they do talk about horror films and professional wrestling, mainly WWE. And if you want something a little bit more academic and in that vein, you can check out myself and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, over on Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where we talk about AI, culture, teaching, academics, writing, the lot. We have an episode up about why we love monsters, and our newest episode up is talking about education, and something needs to be done. Just saying. But until next time, remember, don't be a smeghead. Keep it not funny. I'll see you then.